weather, there's Steiny and Guru.
Yeah.
On 95.7 The Game.
I'm feeling kind of excited today, Goo.
You better. It's payday, baby.
I know. I'm feeling great. You got the
Yeah.
Aloha shirt on. We're all dapper dandied up. What's going on, man?
You know what?
What?
It is a new shirt. I won't front.
You got the chain on top.
But I didn't. The Hawaii gave it away, right? The Hawaiian flavor. I tried to come in like this whole thing. But anyway, good to see you, baby.
Good to see you, too. Evan Giddings in for Matt Steinmetz, Daryl the Guru Johnson rocking with you 10 to 2 here on a beautiful Friday. Dude, the Bay Area has been showing out lately. I'm talking about the weather. It was like 80 degrees yesterday in the city. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll tell you this, Evan. I found something about myself at my age yesterday. You and I went to the cafeteria. I'm not a beer. In the heat, if it's hot out, I can't drink. I'm done. Remember, I was Calipari, one and done.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was a couple times yesterday.
Yeah.
No, man. Well, look, you got to dive into some of the lighter flavors. I can get a little fruity in there, throw a hazy, just a couple pops, loosen things up. And we're feeling loose today,
Yeah, let's go, baby. We got a lot to get to. You look good.
Back at you.
And we heard from Steiner.
We did.
Can I tell the people what he texted?
I was actually surprised.
Did you guys have a good show? Even if we didn't, I put hell yeah we did. I felt like we did.
I think we did.
But I did him trolling us like that.
I can't wait for the question today because I think we're going to have a better show today. Not that yesterday wasn't good. Yesterday was awesome. We got one more on Monday together.
Friday.
Well, we're moving up, right? It's a payday Friday. Might be a freestyle Friday. Yeah. It's an Aloha Friday. And I think, I don't know, Goo, the boss kind of had my mind stirring, as he tends to do.
What about his tweet last night?
Which one?
The before and after, as if nobody told him he was gaining weight. He looks good.
He does.
Face looks slim. It was a bad angle, and if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I don't feel like he's put on some and nobody's told him.
It does suck how sometimes the camera, whether, you got a new iPhone or an old iPhone.
I got the iPhone 15 Max.
Yeah, I think I'm still stuck on 12.
Who cares what kind of unit you have?
But it's unflattering sometimes. It just doesn't make you look the way you think you look.
That is deep. It's
I don't like
real.
That.
Yeah. I'm the guy now. Was at the for the last time, Evan, this week, you guys, Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yes, sir.
On Monday. Evan, I'm taking shots of myself. I'm like, I got to do 5 takes. Like, who's that guy? But it's you. It's me.
Before we get into what we're actually going to get into today, I do want to ask, because when you're in a room full of celebrities or just people above you.
Yeah.
No disrespect. You kind of only get one take. So, like, if you're asking Ricky Henderson for a pick.
Which I did.
But you can't say, hey, let me check the pick. Hey, Ricky, can you come back and take another one? You kind of got to, it's a one-take Jake or you're out.
And some people don't know you're taking 8 of them. You know, you can do that like just burst.
Exactly.
Yeah. Shout out Rick.
Shout out Steiny's Tippy Toes. He's out in Eastern Washington. Evan Giddings is in. Daryl the Guru Johnson. And again, the boss, he had this kind of question that just, I don't know, it put it in perspective. I thought it was clear, and I thought it is a good place to start, Goo, which is, kind of what is on your mind right now? I've been asking a lot of friends in sports, what's going on in the Bay Area? What are you paying attention to? What's been grabbing your content cycle? Because it feels like both on this station and even outside, just on the streets of the city, Goo, the Warriors offseason appears to me to be the most interesting thing going. Specifically, Klay Thompson's decision. But I'll phrase it like this. What do you think is more interesting right now? The Warriors offseason or the San Francisco Giants season?
This pains me, and because I love baseball just as much as I love basketball. But, Evan, it's the Warriors offseason. And I don't know what to do with that, but just feel bad for the sport of Major League Baseball. Or I'm waiting for you to give me some comfort and say, Goo, it's not just you, but, Evan, it's the Warriors by far. And then when I try to flip it, and I said, what if this were the Warriors season and the Giants offseason? That becomes a bigger gap of irrelevance. So it is the Warrior offseason by far, but I'm watching every game, every pitch. I don't know what to do, man. I really don't. And I feel baseball bad or sport bad for the 9-inning game that I love.
888-957-9570 is the number. Are you more interested in what's going on with the Warriors this offseason or what the San Francisco Giants are doing on the field during their season? Because I think record has something to do with it. The performance has something to do with it. The lifelessness that we've seen across a 3-7 road trip might have something to do with it as they come home and take on Cincinnati and then the Dodgers on Monday, Goo. But part of it, too, I think you're right. I think you're onto something with regards to just baseball as a whole. You and I love the game. We'll watch it. Our producer, Ken, big Mets fan.
You played it in college.
I did. I love the game. I spent 5 years in the minors broadcasting for various teams. Thank you. I love baseball.
Right.
But I'm more interested in what's going on with the Warriors this offseason. And it has to do with Klay Thompson, but I think it just has to do with the star power that Golden State has, or fading star power. It's always a fun game.
Love it.
The fading star power, perhaps, as opposed to the star that the Giants don't have.
Well, I'm a stick up for the Giants, and the reason I'm going to stick up for them, Evan, all we did, and I'm talking about all of us, shout out Kendrick, or is that none of us? What was his diss to
Not
Drake?
like us.
Not like us, okay.
We can talk about that later, too.
Yeah, that one crashed and burned. But everybody was whining and crying about the Giants and Farhan not making moves. Guess what he did? He got you the Cy Young winner in the National League last year in Snell. He got Soler, a guy that could hit the ball to the glove in left field.
Yeah.
He got you Matt Chapman. He got you Jung-Hoo Lee. So I say that to say is those are 4 names he went shopping, or they went shopping. And Evan, I guess the only reason I'm a little irritated is I feel like Giant fans are giving up too fast. We're not even at the break. But again, Evan, he went and did a whole lot of something in a short amount of time. And I get right now it's not all, it's not perfect right now. But boy, I am shocked. You didn't ask me, Evan. I'm just sharing this. I am shocked a Giant fan is ready to, bust heads because they're not over 500 yet. And I'm like, can we take a deep woosah? Because think about what you thought about this regime and team before the names I just mentioned. Like, I feel like Giant fans should be rubbing their tummy fed.
Well, they feel fed, but I don't think they feel full. Like, you committed $350 million to some of those players you just mentioned. A couple of those players are not playing very well. Matt Chapman is not playing very well. Jung-Hoo Lee might be the most exciting player on this team. Jordan Hicks, I think, was a great addition. Soler's not playing well.
Oh, boy. He's hurt.
Blake Snell's on the shelf. So I think the Giants, the efforts there, they did what people wanted them to do. I was happy with their offseason. I was excited about opening day. But I think this weekend is a big test to kind of gauge the interest of fans because, the first 3 home games across the weekend, they sold out. 40K, Oracle Park. Now, the last weekend home series was down to 36-35, which is still very, very good. I mean, I think the highest average right now is the Dodgers around 40. The Padres are number 2 at 38,000. Yeah. So the Giants are in the ballpark, so to speak. No pun intended.
What did you say, 11th in attendance in baseball last week, I believe?
Yeah, currently, which is better than the 17th they were last year. So they're climbing. But I wonder if that has just begun to fade the more they've dug themselves this hole. And you're right, there's a long season left. They're 5 games below 500. But this is a team that's coming home. They got some beatable opponents this weekend before the dreaded Dodgers come to town.
Are you a team that can point to the finger and say beatable teams? Because they're playing like they're one of those beatable teams, Evan. Like Cincinnati, I can't say for fact, the Giants are going to take 2 out of I don't know.
Well,
and that's why I want to see if you scored some runs.
They've lost 8 in a row, by the way. The Reds.
Yeah, no doubt.
The Reds are bad.
And I don't like that for Giant fans. Like, that's got to stop at some point, you would think.
But in a way, I feel like a lot of people in Cincinnati,
Hunter Green, they avoid him.
Yeah, they avoid Hunter Green, but they don't avoid Ellie De La Cruz, who's an incredible prospect, is a budding superstar. The Giants don't have that right now. And again, we're talking about why there is more interest, it appears, at least in my opinion. It feels like there's more interest in the Warriors offseason than there is in the actual San Francisco Giants season. And for the Giants, I think also for just the Bay Area, that's a bit of an issue. The fact that you have a team that is playing games and fans are digging for content about Kevin Durant was, Zach Lowe was talking about him earlier today.
Wow.
If Draymond Green drops a podcast, people are eating that up more than it seems like they're eating up Giants baseball. And it just feels like a switch, kind of what you guys were talking about last week in regards to, or earlier this week with Brian Sabian, how it's been 6 years and it feels like the Giants just continue to slip down this slope. And there's nothing right now at the bottom that's a barrier that's going to change that trajectory.
Wow, E. And here I go. Evan, I won the Lucky Break in 2012. Okay, the world was different. Life was
Obama.
different. Look at you. But I do have to tell you, the Giants got their last in 14. So there was still a relationship with the Crawfords, the Belts, and the Buster Posies and Bruce Bochy. Evan, I'm not doing this to get the Giants off the hook. But if you allow me to approach the bench and tell you Exhibit A is this a baseball problem in the Bay and across the states? Do you think the sport has lost something? Because I do. Not to me, but when you talk about changes and you want to grow whatever entity, you know what you start with? The Steve Young. You start with the young. You want to bring the young people to whatever you're selling and trying to grow. And I think baseball's not doing that. So as we come down off the top rope on the Giants and the attendance, you talked about 17 last year, and do you think it's a baseball problem in the Bay to where football and basketball, even if they were always ahead, it was close, but now that gap is just, the sport is becoming uncool. I'm just asking you because I think that's a lot of it.
Has the sport become more uncool in the last 10 years, or have the San Francisco Giants become more irrelevant in the last 10 years?
Can it be both?
Could be both. I think the issues that the sport deals with in terms of marketing players, in terms of the popularity, the watchability, all of that exacerbates the Giants' problems. Right now, they're not a great product. They're not must see, and that's something that is. They tried to address this offseason. Again, they tried to bring in players.
That's half the battle.
Well, half the battle to me is winning. I mean, that's where you need to start. It's the same reason why the Golden State Warriors have star power, but why we were twisted like a pretzel with them this entire season, Goo, is because they were around 500, it felt like, for 4 months, and we didn't know what team was going to show up. We didn't know what stars were going to be there. Even if it's Curry or Clay or Dre, I mean, there are watchable players. Golden State might be one of the most marketable franchises in the NBA, if not the most. And it doesn't matter if you don't win or if you don't, say, get into the playoffs. But still, because of that star power, we're interested in what is going to happen with one of those living legends that is Klay Thompson. I'm more on eggshells about what he's going to choose.
I'm with you.
And where he's going to go than Jung-Hoo Lee trying to get to first base.
Wow. And with all that said, Evan, I know I will. I know you're going to laugh. I'm going to be watching both NBA playoff games, but one of the TVs or wherever I'm at, I'll have the Giants and Reds. But you got me thinking, I'm doing a cross-reference now. You talk about the Warriors and where they're at, and they've won 4. The Giants won 3 and 5. And, Evan, it feels like the Warriors are still in that atmosphere of our greats are still out here. We're at the end. What are we going to do? Who's going to be a part of it? And what's scaring me about the Giants, I don't know why I'm saying scared for Giant fan is, Evan, they've crossed that threshold, and I'm going to go Run DMC reference. Now it's hard times because you don't have Posey. You're looking for your new Crawford. You're looking for we don't know, Bowmail, shout out Bowmail, but he doesn't have the gravitas that Bochy had. Bochy was like a grandfather, your uncle, and they won. So I don't know what to do. And you got me thinking, you mentioned our conversation with Stoney a couple of days ago. Evan, again, do you think that 107 season when they caught lightning in a bottle that the Bay was off the hook? Stoney said, Goo would hit, paraphrasing, but he felt like it didn't resonate. Dude, it was a party, I thought. And again, when you win 107, you fair weather, whatever, but I thought it was jumping again. Do you feel like it was just ho-hum?
I think it was. Towards the end of the season, when people realized what the record was and actually how good the team was playing.
We got action.
Whether you thought the players were good, bad, ugly, I remember walking down the Embarcadero with Joe Shasky and him screaming at people.
He ran
right on down with the flag.
The play-by-play.
Exactly. I was holding the camera on the Zoom call. I was right there with him.
Evan, did you?
I got to work at him that day. Yeah, Shasky was busting his ass down our Embarcadero. It was great. People were talking to him. Folks were pulling over.
Blowing the horn.
People were excited about the Giants. Whether you thought it was a flash in the pan, a fluke, whatever other word you pull out of your thesaurus, there was excitement about that team. But the issue is there wasn't at the beginning of the year, and so it took a few months for people to understand just what magically was happening there. And then, boom, it came to a skidding halt. If the Giants had followed that up, Goo, with an impressive season, a playoff appearance, competitive baseball, I do think that there would be some more staying power. But now we're on, year 6 of Farhan?
Yeah, man.
He's had one good season.
I think he should have got ran with the coach he picked. He hand chose in Kapler. That's another story. But you don't think they're not coming or they're not excited because of him? Like, do you think he's turning people off? Like, that's too heavy of an indictment for me. But he tried his damnedest to get guys in here. And guess what? Can you please tell the people what Austin Slater, you told me he's the longest tenured Giant. What's his average this year, Evan?
118.
How is he still on the team?
It's a great question. I think that's part of it too, Gu, is...
Like, damn, bring somebody up.
Not even, there is star power around the Bay Area. But when you look at, to me, what matters to a fan...
Here we go.
Again, it has to do with staying power. And it is winning, but it's also likability. It's also marketability. Right now, the most marketable player, I think, for the Giants that at least my friends resonate with in the Bay Area is probably Logan Webb. He's a NorCal kid. He's a good player. He's always on the mound every fifth day, but that's not enough. It can't just be one person.
Last two
do need a good game. Okay. Yeah, he's given up.
Sorry to interrupt.
Hasn't got out of the 5th inning for, I think, back-to-back games? But the point is, when you look at the 49ers, because Armstead is gone, the player with the longest tenure is George Kittle. Now, George Kittle might not be their best player on the team, but fans have something to associate with him. They feel like they know him. There's a connection. There's a relationship. Obviously, with the Warriors, the longest tenured player is Steph Curry. Say less. Like you brought up, the longest tenured player
That's crazy.
on the San Francisco Giants is Austin Slater. He's a 4th or 5th outfielder hitting 118. That's a problem. And that's why I do think, to bring it back to where we started, it's why the Warriors offseason is more interesting and has drawn more eyes and ears than what the Giants are actually doing on the field.
That's sad, man. And what do you have any answers? Because if from a Giants perspective, let's say that I'm different than most, and I'm telling Giant fan, relax, because you're acting a little greedy. You wanted him to do something. Farhan, he did it. All you really have now as far as change, Evan, obviously better play, but you got the deadline. But are you going to get a Buster Posey at the deadline? I think not. You called up, who do they call up, Ramos? Like, I don't know, Evan. What's the remedy? What are you prescribing? I'm in your office. Giant fans in your office. I don't know. I know it's bleak, and you are making some stellar points, but what can be done right now?
You got to win. You got to find a way to win games. And you're right, 925 in the Xfinity Mobile text line. They had Slater in center field yesterday. You know why? Because they're off free agent acquisition. Jorge Soler can't play the field. And he's on the IL right now.
Yeah, man.
They just brought up Heliot Ramos because your boy Yaz is hitting 226. Conforto's come down a little bit.
I think he's your best player right now as far as power.
They're searching for something. They're searching for W's.
World, yeah.
Look, they took 2 or 3 in Colorado.
I wanted to sweep, but I'm being greedy.
No. And actually, Dibbs brought up a nice point yesterday during the commercial break, I think, which was 4-6 on a road trip is a hell of a lot better than 3-7. You know why? Because it's one more win.
Nah.
You got swept in Philly.
Shout out Dibbs.
You lost 2 or 3 in Boston.
And it was ugly in Philly.
It was ugly in Philly.
4-game sweep.
And so now you come home and you play the Reds, and you got the Dodgers coming into town. And I think we can save some of the Farhan stuff, Gu, for when we see how they match up with the Dodgers again.
And that's Monday.
That is Monday.
You got them here.
Okay, let me just ask you this, because the great Whitley Sandretto, senior social director here at 95.7 The Game, posed this question to us yesterday, Gu. For example, what do you think of when you think of the Dodgers? Right?
Money.
Same. Cold hard cash. And money.
And you know what another word I could have used, which money allows you to do?
Yeah.
Win.
It does.
Go get anything you want. It might not work, but you're spending.
What do you associate with the Giants right now?
Sleep. No, they're boring.
That's a good call. I didn't think about that. My mind did not go there.
There's no Ohtani, and there's no Ohtani. You know what I mean? There's no Mookie Betts, and it's sad in a sense. And people are pointing out, and we didn't say it, Farhan didn't get Webb. He inherited Webb. Like, man, where are the youngsters? Where's the newbies?
They're not ready yet, or they're not good enough. That's what we're trying to figure out with the Warriors. So, for example, what do you associate with the Warriors right now? It's a little more difficult.
Wow.
But Evan, it's also because
I need a lifeline.
There's some things you can grab. It's not sleep.
Confusion. Confusion.
Confusion about where they're going, who will be on the team, where they're headed.
What's at the top of their board to-do list? Are you gonna tap into, hey, Clay, you've meant a lot. You're gonna stay here. We don't want to the optics. Forget how many wins and losses. We're going to tap into the cardiac muscle, and the fans want to see you retire a Warrior, and that they could do that. Or is it just cold? We missed the playoffs. It's about getting back. Look at the West. So feelings, nothing. That's out the window. That's why I'm confused. What road are they going down?
Well, and that's why I feel like I associate connection to it. I feel connected to the Warriors more than I feel connected to any other team, including the 49ers, just because those guys have been there for as long as they have. I don't feel very connected to the San Francisco Giants. As a big baseball fan, I love baseball. I don't feel connected to them. I like watching them. I hope they win. They get competitive. But I feel more connected to the Warriors, and that's to me at the kind of the crux of this question we're trying to solve or ask and answer, which is, why is there more interest in the Warriors offseason than the Giants season itself? I think it's because of the connectivity I feel to their players and that the fan base feels to them.
Well, that's a stellar point, but what about this caveat? What about the fact, and maybe this is unfair, you tell me what you think, the fact that we're watching possibly the end of a dynasty, or a dynasty given another life to take another crack at it. So right there, everybody's invested. We're talking about a decade of, a dynasty, and we don't know if it's over, if it's going to continue, or what they're going to throw at it. And maybe that's so heavy in itself, Evan, no other entity could kind of rival that. Or, like that's a landslide of, dude, this is years of watching Steph, Clay, and Dre and Kerr grow up, and now we're at the edge of our seat wondering who's going to be along for the rest of the ride. And maybe that's why it sounds like the Giants are in dire strait. But I'm reaching there, bad defense. Bottom line is the Giants are trying to find an identity, man.
And they don't have one right now, but New Jersey can. You had some here?
Kenny!
Yeah, it's interesting what you guys are talking about. I love what you mentioned about Austin Slater, and it's funny enough, I know you guys know already, but Austin Slater was talking about the misconception of coming to San Francisco because he says a lot of the teams that come in here, they're staying in Union Square, they're staying in the Tenderloin area, not so great areas, so they see this, they see that, and they're like, he goes, I talked to Jordan Hicks. He goes, he wants to come here and explore the city. He's like, yeah, man, go to Golden Gate Park, go to different areas besides the areas that you usually come when there's teams. And it's interesting because as a Mets fan, when people come to play the Mets, they don't stay in Queens. They stay in Manhattan.
Wow,
They're staying in Manhattan. They're staying in the Upper East Side, the Upper West Side, Lower East Side. Yeah. They're not going to the bad areas parts of New York City. So I think that could be part of it.
They're not staying in Brownsville?
Yeah, look at you. Hey, I don't want to, that's good stuff. I don't want to sound like a snob, but if I'm the Giants or the Warriors, do you look into that? Putting the visiting team and maybe possible future teammates or guys on your squad in the ritzy area, as opposed to, we hear Charles Barkley talk about when he comes out of his hotel when he stays here during the fun. Stephen A. Smith, like there's a bandwagon of what he just said.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lydianne Beltran on the YouTube chat powered by First NorCal Credit Union kind of hits it on the head. Fans are getting so much anxiety guessing what the future will be. Fans have no control. So just sit back and wait and trust the owners. I don't think people do trust. It's not just the owners, but potentially the teams, the front office. When you do have to sit back and trust someone, you want to feel like that they're doing their job and that things are going to change. The issue with the Giants right now is that it feels like they've been kind of stuck in this perpetual mud no matter what they've done. No matter if they spent at the offseason, no matter if they've swung and missed on free agents, it doesn't feel like right now, even compared to the Warriors, that they're in a place to break out of that rut. And I think that's a place people are wondering.
Well, man, good luck.
The Warriors are headed to. Oh, thanks for the three.
No, if the Warriors are trying to avoid.
Well, they are trying to avoid it.
Good God, but you're going to do that as long as you got Steph, right?
You would hope.
All right.
Thanks, 347. Brownsville's about as safe as Hayes Valley these days. Appreciate you.
Wow, Red Hook.
Oh, Evan Giddings in for Matt Steinmetz. We'll hit a break here, come back on the other side. Again, I am wondering, 888-957-9570. Are you more interested in the Warriors offseason than the San Francisco Giants season? Is that a reflection of where we are as Barry sports fans? Is that an issue? Is that fine? Where do you gravitate towards right now in regard to sports content and topics? I think the Warriors are one, and we're trying to get at the root of the reason why. 888-957-9570 is the number. Evan Giddings in for Matt Steinmetz with Gerald the Guru Johnson. Back after this. That's